Hey y'all, this is Razor Reddick and we're here doing Cutthroat 101. I have my model here today, Chrissy, and we're going in for the big chop. I'm going to go ahead and give her a nice little funky edge cut. She wanted to join the short hair don't care. So I'm going to give her a contour where it's going to shorter on the sides and around the nape. And we're going to elongate the front. Right now I'm separating her hair into the portions of where I want to begin the cut. Once again, I said I'm going to leave the front elongated. Normally what you want to do is you want to section her hair in a U in the back. I went to the occipital bone part right in the mid, around to the sides. I'm going to go from temple to temple. I am a stylist who prefers to use clippers, so I'm going to use shears, clippers, and razor. I'm going to go in with my shears first. And we're just going to go in and chop. That's the big chop. Putting hair on the floor. Now once I do that, I'm going to go in on the sides of her hair first. And I'm going to proceed to separate from the top of her ear from the back, because I'm going to over direct. Never cut past your second digit right here on your finger. Doing so will cause you to lose your finger. So what I did was I brought the first portion of the cut that I did as my guide to the next section. And I'm going to proceed all the way to the nape of her hair using this as my guide. I'm going to begin to go at an angle, parting at an angle, once I get to the nape area. And I'm only going to go from the lower part of her ear to the first point of her neck. And then I'll proceed to cut this differently. The reason that I'm going to use this one as my guide is to finish off the side, and then I would have to turn to another angle to proceed to use the nape area cutting as a different guide. And we'll play with that a little later. So because I have my guide right here, this is the first cut. I made a section. I'm going to take this section and bring it forward. Be sure to follow your guide. If you lose your guide, go back into the cut find it again and start fresh. There's also a method and a way that we do to check our cuts. Make sure you have enough clips on hand. I'm pulling my fingers out away from the scalp to where my guide is, and I'm going to even it and cut. I'm going to leave her a little bit of sideburns for a little bit of some femininity. Okay, that's not a word. For some softness. You want to be careful for your clients' edges who have thinning edges or partially losing their edges. So right now, she has this already created. What I would do is go back in the cut and correct the cut, which is to properly blend. And I pull everything together. You're going to pull everything forward, and you just snip off the little small pieces. And then I'm going to proceed on the other side. Start at the top of the ear. Section that part off. I'm going to tilt my hand away from the scalp. Again, my hand is flat on the scalp, and then I lift off. And that's how I know how much hair length I want to have. And I'm going to come back and just continue to follow my guide. Now, because I just did this on the other side and I walked you guys through step by step, on this side right here, I'm just going to continue to go in motion, my regular motion. I'm going to pull my guide forward. Remember about the second digit. Don't pass that, or if you have really sharp shears, you'll cut your hand and possibly cut your finger off. Remember I said that I'm going to leave her sideburns, so I'm going to pull those out, and I'll deal with those at the very end to give it the softness. You always want to make sure that you position yourself to be right in front so that you can see what you're doing. It's very important to invest in good shears. Keep in mind that you don't want to cut into anyone's flaws where their hair may be thinning. And the reason being is you want to be able to have some of this hair to cover and blend in it as an illusion for fullness. See how I could bring that forward, and then I'm going to lay it and it'll cover it. And it'll have her hair blending, looking like it's all full edges on her sides. Now I'm just correcting my cut. Just going through it, making sure each one is blended. Now, as far as the back, we're going to create weight on the bottom. And remember, we're leaving more length on the top. And this will be considered a disconnected cut. So we're going to disconnect the top from the sides, which means that these will be really low, and this will be extended to be the long length, the sexy length. So this is her edgy, that I told you, edge. These are the edginess, and this is the sexy and sassy. It's going to be soft. Or we could do curls. So now I'm in the back, the nape of the head, and I'm coming in with the guide that's right here, but I'm going to kind of lose my guide in a sense. Because I'm going to leave more hair at the bottom. So I'm cutting off the mid section.
Excuse me. A couple sets of keys out here. I don't know if you want them out there.
You're okay. Oh, there it is. So now I have a guide on both sides. And the guide that I'm going to choose to go with is the one that I started from this area in the middle of her head. So you can see the different dimensions of the layer of it being choppy, graduating. Back in the day, this would have been called a shag. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my shear over comb, and I'm going to go up one chop and blend down. I'm going to go up. I'm still going to lift my comb out away from the scalp like I did when I showed you when I did the cut, and then I'm going to blend down. This leaves softness on the neck where there's no hard lines, no clippers, just straight shear over comb. Now this is where I go in for corrective cutting. I'm going to slide the hair, and I'm just going to make sure everything is even, blended, in one side to the other. I want this to be longer because that's her tail. So I'm going to go up in here, like I said, and all this is going to come right off. All this is going to come right off. Now if you notice, both sides fairly similar. It looks like she has more fullness on this side of her hair than this side. So I'm going to go back in on this side and make sure that I have it even. my shears, and I will just curve around the ear. Again, this creates softness and not hard lines. Take my shears and curve around the ear. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the mid shaft of the hair. And this is where I'm keeping it disconnected. Remember, this is where we're going to keep the sexy, sleek look. All of this. You could already see the look coming in. Edgy, funky, yet an illusion. As if she has long hair still. Then when she wants to switch it back, do a pompadour or something, she has both sides evenly off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the top portion. And I'm just going to razor cut, razor cut, razor cut. I'm not going to go in and do any chopping, no hard lines. I want everything to be soft. So I'm going to go in and do some razor cutting. I'm going to section the very front section of her hair off because I want to keep all of this length. Then I'm going to go in to the mid area. I'm going to make 3 sections. This mid section is going to be my middle length, which is going to create volume to this. Now this one is going to be my edgy, spunky look, where I'm just going to go in and just chop it in, just razor. Now this one I stay going back, if you notice. I cut it going back because when I go forward, it's going to go shorter to longer. So I'm going to make sure that even though I'm using a razor, the point of the razor is to give it still the look of the hair not being cut, like natural. Shears give hard lines. Razor gives you as if it was just her natural hair without lines being added. So now I'm going to go in with my shears, and this is called point cutting. So now I'm going to lift all of this together, and I'm going to point cut, point cut, point cut. Now my next section here, I'm going to take this middle row and I'm going to over direct it to the front. And when I do that, I'm going to razor. So if you notice, you can still see the blend from here to there. See, I just took some, blended with mine. You can see the hair still is flying off, so that means I'm still in cutting mode. Can't be afraid of your tools. Gotta let your tools work for you. Gotta know how to use them too. Now remember I said I wanted to keep my bang. So if you look at the cut now, everything is coming together. From the back, see my peak coming this way, to everything going this way. I think my model just came to life, y'all. Y'all don't even see what I see. It's hilarious. Love it. So now I'm going to have her lift her head up, and I'm going to bring all of the weight, all the hair in this direction to meet this one part right here. And when I do that, I want to make sure that I'm going to just slither. So either way that we go, the cut is real. You guys got to understand that hair is meant to be played with and create artwork with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go in and I'm going to just take some of it out. And the part that I'm taking out, as you notice, is on the outer. And again, right up in here. So I'm just going to take it out. Again, I'm on the outer parameter. And I'm just going to take it out. This is another way of thinning. Again. Now what I did on one side, I'm going to do on the other. Because her hair is a universal cut, she could wear it to the left or to the right. So I'm going to go on the outer perimeter only of the side of the disconnected cut. So this is one of your basic cuts to giving an illusion of a mohawk. But when they're not ready to completely go all the way low, you leave a lot of weight on the top, a lot of length, but you give dimensions of the length. And there's many different ways that you could give those dimensions. I showed you that I used the razor. I showed you how I use the shears. And I showed you the proper sections in order to gut out the hair to give you this look. It's very important that you have the proper shears, proper razor blades, everything that you use, your tools, make you the money, so you have to invest. I'm going to just double check my sides. If you notice, clean. Everything is clean and even. And with it being clean and even, this is called cross-checking. If I had a little bit out, then I would go ahead and cut it off. All of this is clean. Now, as far as when I get to the back of her hair, I'm going to go in and relax it. But this is Cutthroat 101 with Razor Reddick. And I'll show you the rest once we get to the next step. Now we're coming into the styling portion of the hair. And in this segment, I'm going to take my Andes T-liners and I'm going to clean up around the ear because I like a clean line but soft. So I'm just going to go ahead and go around the ear, only using the T part. Only using the T part of my clippers. This part is going to take off the excess fuzz. Now remember when I said I wanted to leave her sideburns. So on this segment, now I'm going to come into the sideburns and create. I'm not going to mess with her natural hairline so much because soft is beautiful as far as for women. So I'm just going to take off any excess fuzz but not go into the hairline. Now as far as this long piece of side, I'm just going to go in and take that off and still leave the point. So I just took the excess part of length off, but I still left the sideburn there with a point. That's where we're at. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to flip the hair over here. Now because this is where the direction that I'm going to wear the weight of the hair in, I'm not going to take too much of this sideburn off. Again, clean up the fuzz. Clean around the ear. Now I'm going to leave this tail here kind of soft, but I'm going to take off some of the hair that's just in the way. So I'm going to clean around the fuzz. Now I'm going to go into styling mode. You can see the layers and dimensions of the cut all the way through. This is from the razor on the top. Remember, we did it in 3 sections. So you had your frontal, your mid, and your back. Your frontal, your mid, and your back. And that's how we gave her fullness, depth, and an illusion of a mohawk or a faux hawk. My preference is to use my Marcel irons instead of the electric flat irons. Everyone has a preference. Use your desired equipment. So once again, I'm just giving volume up here in the front, in the top area, I'm sorry. I'm using a little bit of spritz, and I spray at a distance because I don't want it to be hard. Just enough to hold the curl in place, and then for a smooth, easy comb out. And as you can see, I've already went through and did the whole sides and the back. We'll be back. Give her the body, let you guys be able to see the cut. Putting a little bit of shine on her hair.